All right, this has been far too long since we've seen our old friend Craig Button, our director of scouting here at TSN. He looks fantastic. He went on a vacation to Mexico. He's tanned, he's rested, he's ready to talk about Alexander Ovechkin, who's now just 13 goals away, Craig, from breaking Wayne Gretzky's record. What a wild run the 39-year-old has been on. First of all, how impressive has this been in your mind, Craig? And do you think he will accomplish the feat this season?
Jay, you can go into the archives, and at the beginning of the season, I said he would break it this year. We know he started out and was unbelievably hot. Then he got hurt. We're going, okay, what will it mean? Well, then he came back, and he hasn't missed a beat. And he's on a 58-goal pace for a full season through 41 games with his 29. So, to me, yeah, he's going to break it this year. There's no question in my mind. He's on a top team that scores lots, gets lots of opportunities, and he's absolutely feeling it. So, no question there. I mean, everything that Alexander Ovechkin does is impressive. From the day he entered the league in 2005, alongside Sidney Crosby. Now, Sidney Crosby just had his day in the sun, figuratively, with the Four Nations and captaining Canada to the gold medal championship. Well, now it's Ovi's time to have the spotlight, and he's going to own that spotlight. This is a record that I never thought would be broken, Jay. I thought 894 by Gretzky, it was not going to be touched. Not only is it going to be touched, it's going to be passed by quite a bit. I mean, we could look at Alexander Ovechkin maybe closing in on 1,000 regular season goals. That's not out of the question, because when you think about the first half of last year where he just wasn't himself, the second half of the year, last 36 games, he scored 23 goals. He was on pace for 50 at that rate, and he's picked that right up again. When you look at what he's done in his 20th season, there's been no fall off. And until somebody shows me that there's going to be a significant fall off, I'm not talking about 20 games or 30 games. I'm talking where you're going, okay, he's in the 20-goal range for a regular season. There's no reason to believe that he can't get close to 1,000 or more than 1,000. And because the Capitals are so good, and to watch him do it with his young son and his family, I mean, it just brings joy to his face. It's bringing joy to his family's faces as well.
Not a lot of joy for Edmonton Oilers fans' faces right now, Craig. The team gives up 13 goals in back-to-back losses after the Four Nations face-off. Do you feel like this is going to ignite those goaltender rumors again? Why is this team so flat right now?
Well, I think they're going to miss the playoffs, Jay. I think it's, you lose 2 games like that, it's over now. It's like, listen, here's what I'm going to say. This team has been phenomenal to this point in the season. Yeah, we know they had their stumbles at the beginning of the season. We see a 2-game stumble here coming out of the Four Nations break. And certainly, you sit down and you look, okay, they've given up 13 goals. They didn't play well as a team. We can look at Skinner. We can look at Pickard. We can look at it all. The whole team was terrible. They were all bad. I mean, collectively, they were all bad. And you're not going to win a game when you have every single player playing poorly. And so for the Edmonton Oilers, to me, get your game in order. Just get this behind you and get focused in. When you look at every single meaningful metric, this team has been top of the league offensively, defensively. And Stuart Skinner, before the game against the Flyers on Saturday, his save percentage was .900. That's league average. And so think about how he started and how well he's had to play to get that save percentage up to that number. And so has he been perfect? Is he a Connor Hellebuck? No, he isn't. But at the same time, he's been a really good goaltender, and there's no goaltender that's going to survive what the Edmonton Oilers did in front of Skinner or Pickard in the last 2 games. But I would just say, don't worry about it. The Edmonton Oilers know they need to make some areas of improvement, and they will, I believe. But I think this is nothing to be worried about.
Okay, I wonder if you have the same message for the Canucks fan base. Also, back-to-back losses since the Four Nations face-off, and only 15 shots on goal, Craig, Sunday against Utah. No shots on goal from Elias Pettersson on Sunday. Again, flat performances. How do you explain it?
Their leading scorer is not playing. That would be Quinn Hughes. Their second leading scorer is playing with the New York Rangers. That's JT Miller. And then you have you have Garland, you have Poos Suter, and you have Kiefer Sherwood that all have more goals than Elias Pettersson. Oh, and by the way, Elias Pettersson is supposed to be a premier, superstar, $11.6 billion player. Listen, bottom line is, he's not driving play. In fact, he's holding them back. Because now you're asking other players that don't have the same abilities and capabilities of Pettersson to try to do it. They do not have enough speed combined with skill in their upper group of forwards. That's why they're a bottom 8 team in offense this year, Jay. It should come as no surprise that they're bottom 8. And when you consider that their top scorers out in Hughes, the JT Miller, who was second behind Hughes before he got traded, and is just now 1 point behind Besser for his time in Vancouver, I mean, they got big problems. I think Jimmy Rutherford recognized it when he said, when we trade JT Miller, it's going to have to be more than one move to get us back to contending. Do I think they can make the playoffs? Yeah. They're not anywhere near a Stanley Cup contender. They're nowhere near where they were at last year with respect to their team. And they need to make some significant improvements as well as determine what Elias Pettersson is going to be for the Vancouver Canucks or not.
And Craig, I went to the Leaf game Saturday with my family, and I watched the game Sunday right here on TSN. And the thing that struck me about this Toronto Maple Leafs team right now is the depth scoring. They're getting that depth scoring that they've been craving for so long. How important is that for this team as they head into the stretch run?
It's not important, Jay. I think you're making a big deal out of this. Just because you saw a lot of depth scoring, I think you're making a big deal. I'm kidding, Jay. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Depth scoring is really important for any team. And when you think about the playoffs and you think about top players playing against the opponent's top players, you know, there's going to be times where there's a saw-off, where you're not going to be able to get that ability to score those goals from your top players. So who else is going to step up and deliver it? And I think for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Craig Berube now watching those players deliver, I think it's really important because you know now you can get your goals from other places in your lineup. It also eases the burden on those top players, knowing that they have a little bit of support behind them when it comes to offense and it comes to goals. So when you look at it overall and you look at how tight the playoffs can be and you think about how you try to find a way to get goals from players not named Matthews or Nylander or Tavares, you know, those are really, really big moments. Jay, I'm going to take you back to 2009. It's a trivia question. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, Detroit Red Wings, Pittsburgh Penguins. It ended up 2-1 for the Penguins en route to their Stanley Cup with Sidney Crosby, his first. Who scored Pittsburgh's 2 goals?
Chris Kunitz.
Max Talbot had them both.
Darn it.
Max Talbot, depth scoring.
There you
I
go.
need say no more.